Hi there, my name is Sultana Muzikir on sultanamuzikir.com. I'm a left-hand crochet designer and maker who loves everything handmade. And this is the week 2 video for the Learn to Crochet for Beginners series. And in last week 1's video, I went over a brief history of crochet and informed you about the materials that you'll need for this course. And if you didn't get a chance to see that video, I'll leave a link in the description box below. So in this particular video, I'm going to cover the following topics: how to hold your crochet hook and the crochet hook anatomy, how to make a slip knot, and how to make a chain stitch and keep your tension while holding the yarn. So I'm glad that you decided to join me and make that step into learning the awesome craft of crochet. So number 1, we're going to talk about, well, first grab your yarn and your crochet hook. I'm using Red Heart Super Saver size 4 medium yarn, and the color is called Turquoise, and I'm using a size I9 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, which is the recommended size for this yarn. So let's talk about the anatomy of a crochet hook. So let's look at this crochet hook here and get in focus. Okay. All right, so this is the tip of the crochet hook, and this part here is called the hook right here. This is the shank or the throat of the crochet hook, and this is where they call this the thumb grip here, where it's kind of slanting a little bit here, your thumb grip. And this part is called the handle, and I'll include a photo that shows the different parts of the crochet hook for you. Okay, so in order to get started, we're going to talk about how to hold your crochet hook. So generally there are 2 ways to hold a crochet hook. They are the pencil hold and the knife hold, and I will demonstrate both. This is the pencil hold. So basically you're holding it just as if you were holding a pencil, and this is the knife hook, where you would hold it like this. And there's really no wrong or right way to hold your crochet hook, but I would suggest trying both methods and choosing the one that is more comfortable for you. I use the pencil hook, but on some occasions I've used both methods while crocheting on a project. So pencil hold, knife hold. Now we're going to get into how to make a slip knot. Okay, first of all, let's grab our yarn, and at the end of the yarn there should be a piece that's sticking out. Sometimes it's not so visible and you might have to dig down into the middle of the yarn, find the end of the yarn so you can pull. And sometimes it's not so easy. Sometimes it makes a big mess, but I'm lucky this time it was there for me to see easily. I can easily pull this yarn from the skein. Okay, so let's pull a little bit of yarn. to make the slip knot. The slip knot is very important because almost all crochet projects begin with a slip knot before making the foundation chain. So this is how I make a slip knot. So I'm going to leave a small tail here on the end and hold your yarn like this, and I'm going to wrap it around my index finger and the middle finger here and make a loop. I'm going to take this working yarn, that's the yarn that's attached to the yarn skein. I'm going to take this and push it through the circle here. I'm going to take my crochet hook and pick up that yarn in the circle. And I'm going to hold the working yarn, the yarn attached to the skein of yarn and the end, and I'm going to pull, gently pull to tighten up that loop a little bit, but not too tight. And I'm going to hold this end of the yarn. I'm going to pull the working yarn to make the loop a little smaller, and you don't want to make the loop too tightly, because if you make it too tight, you're not going to be able to get your stitches through. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. So you can see that again. Pull it out. Take my yarn. This is my working yarn attached to the skein, and this is the other end of the yarn. I'm going to hold both pieces of yarn, and I'm going to wrap the yarn around my index finger, middle finger, make a loop. I'm going to take the working yarn attached to the skein and push it through that loop. I'm going to take my crochet hook and grab that yarn that just went through the loop. I'm going to hold the working yarn and the other end of the yarn and pull slightly. You made a little slip knot there, and I'm going to hold on to both ends, working yarn, the other end of the yarn, and I'm going to pull on the working yarn to close up the loop, close up that loop to make the slip knot. And I'm not going to make it too tight so I can move that crochet hook through. And that is how I make the slip knot. Now we're going to move on to make the chain stitch. Now, how to make the chain stitch and keeping your tension. Okay, so this is, like I said, this is the working loop, and in order to keep the tension, you have to I wrap the yarn around my fingers like this and hold that tail, and I'm going to wrap the yarn around the hook of the crochet hook, and I'm going to pull that yarn through that loop to make that first chain. And you see how I have the yarn going across my finger? That's how I'm keeping the tension of the yarn, and I'm holding the bottom of the tail of the yarn with my thumb and ring finger. Make another chain, wrap the yarn around the crochet hook like this, and pull it through the loop. That's your next chain. I'm going to pull up just a little bit so the loop is not too tight, so I can make the next chain. Wrap the yarn around the crochet hook and pull that yarn through the next loop. That's your next chain. You see how the chain is forming? Wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, pull the yarn through that loop you just made, and the chain is getting longer. And as the chain is getting longer, I have to move my ring finger and my thumb finger up the chain to hold it, to keep my tension as even as possible, so I can make my chain stitches as even as possible. So we're going to wrap the yarn around the crochet hook and pull through the loop through the next chain. Wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, pull it through that loop. Chain's getting longer. I'm going to move my fingers, thumb and ring fingers up this chain to hold it so I can keep my tension with the yarn. And as you're wrapping the yarn around the crochet hook and pulling it through that loop, and you can see how the yarn is moving from the skein through my finger. That's how you hold the tension. And there's no right or wrong way how to hold the yarn on your hand for the tension. You just have to adjust it to what's comfortable for you. So you might want to try the way I'm doing it here to see if that's comfortable for you. And if it's not, you may have to try another way. But I say try the way I'm holding it at first, just to see if that works for you. So I'm going to wrap the yarn around the crochet hook and pull it through the loop. And you see how the chain is being formed here. And if you need more yarn, you just pull the yarn from the skein and put it to the side. And let's do that again. I'm going to wrap that yarn around my index finger, here, just in between index finger, middle finger. Wrap the yarn around a crochet hook, pull that yarn through the loop you just made. This is how you make your chain stitch. Wrap the yarn around a crochet hook, pull it through that loop. Wrap the yarn around a crochet hook, pull it to the loop. Wrap the yarn around a crochet hook, pull it through the loop. And that is how you make the chain stitch. So the really best way to learn is to just keep practicing. And believe me, when I first learned how to make a chain stitch, my stitches were not as even as they are right now. They looked a little wonky, so you have to really practice to get your chain stitches as even as possible. And so really the 3 P's, I say the 3 P's to learning the art of crochet is practice, practice, and practice. So your homework is to practice everything that you learned today in this lesson. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that bell. Share this video with someone that you think might want to learn how to crochet. And ring that bell so you'll be notified when I upload new videos. And I thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And in the meantime, have an awesome day.